In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw a nose that looks 3D. It took me just half an hour to draw this. I've sped it up for the video. Only a small amount is actually drawn with the tip of the pencil. That's the nostrils and nose brackets. The rest is all down to shading. I start off by lightly marking out where I want to draw the nose brackets. A light line of symmetry for the centre of the nose helps me to keep the spacing even. I take my time mapping out where I want to draw the tip of the nose and draw a light horizontal line at the bottom for where I think the nostril should start. Using a light pencil mark, I start drawing in the nose brackets and nostrils, paying careful attention to the shape, size and angles of the lines I'm drawing. I am double checking to make sure my shapes are accurate, and I will do this throughout my drawing. I am also thinking about positive and negative space. That's the shape of the inside of the nostrils, the dark part, compared to the shape of the outside of the nostrils, the lighter parts. All noses are different, and your nose won't look like this. It might be wider, smaller, at a different angle. You might not be able to see your nostrils at all. The best thing to do is be honest about the shape of your nose. People are going to look at your drawing and think, wow, what an amazing drawing, not what the nose itself looks like. I start my shading from the darkest part because I know that's going to be almost black. I can then use this to balance out the rest of my tonal range. I press down hard but not too hard as I want to make my shading even. I take the pressure off the pencil towards the outside of the nostrils as I can see it's slightly lighter. Now I'm ready to start my shading, but first I lightly sketch a shape for where the light hits the tip of my nose from where it's sticking out. This is the other end of my tonal range and it will help me make my drawing look 3D. Now I'm simply shading the nose using the side of my pencil rather than the tip and holding it flatter against the page. I'm starting off looking at where I can see shadows and darker areas. I'm still thinking about shapes, angles, positive and negative space as I'm doing this. As well as shading the bridge of the nose, I want to shade carefully and in much more detail around the nostrils and septum, as this part is hidden by the rest of the nose as it is underneath and will be darker. I am using a small bit of kitchen roll to smudge my shading to make it look smoother. You can use a blending tool or smudge stick if you have one at home, but please avoid using your fingers. Remember, your skin contains oils that will ultimately make your shading less smooth, more patchy and harder to rub out, so don't do it. Shading takes time. Once you've shaded in the main areas, you need to build up your darker tones by going over them gently. You want to start looking at the nose in more detail now. Look for smaller areas of shadow, particularly under the tip of the nose and around the upper lip. Your nose will be particularly dark around the nostrils because this part is the furthest back. Use the darkest tones in your range to add depth. Again, pay attention to the shape of the shadows. Make sure you spend plenty of time darkening tones and refining detail. Use a sharp rubber to pick out the highlights. You can make your rubber sharp by cutting off the corner of a normal sized rubber and use that. Use your kitchen roll or blending tool to graduate midtones into the highlights and work back into the shape with a sharp pencil. Pick your nose. Pick out the highlights on the tip of your nose with your rubber. Keep checking the shape. It is important to take time getting this right as this is the part that sticks out. Lastly, continue to work into the dark tones, highlights, edges and details until your drawing is as highly refined and 3D as possible.